Good morning, everybody. What a wonderful morning it is. It is Friday morning. Happy Friday morning. And man, thank God. Thank goodness we made it to Friday. We made it to another Friday. And I just give God all the praise, glory, and honor. This morning, it's time for morning manna. It's time for morning manna. We're going to give Facebook Live a few seconds to pull everybody together. Then we're going to get right into this morning's manna. You know, we've been doing this whole series on the chronicles of a confined family, if you will, the chronicles of our containment, however you want to say it. Just been doing this whole series about family, us being together during this time of shelter in place. And so today is our last session or last episode, however you want to say it, last part of this 5-part series. Now, if it's your first time, please let us know who you are so we can shout you out. You already know the drill. It is always the text, the talk, and the takeaway. You know the drill. You got to share the manna. Can't keep it to yourself. You know the drill. You always got to give the hearts and the likes. And we get right into this morning's manna. Now, also want you to put in the comments the revelation that you get. The revelation that you get will help somebody else when they watch this as it is shared throughout the day. The text, the talk, and the takeaway. The text this morning is John 19:27. Here's the context of the text. Jesus is on the cross, and he is having his 7 last words or 7 last phrases. And he looks over to John, the beloved, his close friend and disciple, and he says these words to the disciple John. He's writing it. He's writing in the third person, so he doesn't refer to himself. He says, "Here is your mother." Now the tape in your mind, if you're a King James reader, it is, "Behold thy mother." From that time on, that disciple took her into his home. He looks over to John. He's on the cross. Jesus is dying on the cross. He's been crucified on the cross. And he looks over to John and he says to John, "John, take my mother." Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's the context of what is going on. More than just this cross and more than just one of the last things that Jesus is saying. It is a statement of what is happening in the family. What do you mean by that? The Greek language that is used to describe what is happening here says that when John took his mother unto himself or into his home, the language that is used there is an adoption. It is the legal language of adoption. In other words, at that moment, John adopted, and his mother, Jesus' mother, Mary, adopts John as her son. There is this coming together, if you will, in a legal way, not just in a spiritual way or in an emotional way in this moment. Now, what does that mean for us right now? And what does this application tell us? What does this context tell us? You have to ask yourself, here's the talk. The first thing you have to ask yourself is, where is Jesus' brothers? Where's his brothers? Where's his sisters? Remember earlier, and if you remember, I said to you in this teaching about family, and family is the conduit. Family is where we learn God. Family is how God speaks through. Go all the way back to Monday when I said that when God introduces God's self to Moses, he says, "I'm your father." And then he says, "I am the God of your fathers." In other words, you know me through your family. The first thing that God put together, again, is the family, Adam and Eve. What's the point? The point is this. As I said, that God moves through family life. God operates through family life. So when we get to this point here, we have 12 tribes of Israel, which is a family system. Jesus comes up with a new family systems of his disciples. Here is the connection here. Clearly, when we mentioned to you that there was some strain in this family relationship, they did not initially believe that Jesus was who he said he was. Mary did, but his siblings did not. So when we get to this point where he's literally on the cross, he has to then turn his mom over to his close buddy, the new family ties that he has. That's the point. Family ties. Family ties are eternal. Family ties have to do with our eternity and who we are connected with. And so no brothers and sisters are around. He looks out and he says, John, take my mom. And because of his bond, here's the second thing, because of the bond that was strengthened between them while Jesus was going through the 3 years of ministry, he could look to John to be the person that would be there for his mom. What am I saying to you? There are going to be relationships that are beyond the blood connection. There are going to be relationships with family ties that reach into the eternal connection. And that's what happens even in this time of confinement. Remember what we said. Now, during this time that we are with our families, it is time to strengthen the ties. That's the third thing. This is a time that we have to strengthen the ties, not loosen the ties because of all of the things that we're going through. I remember, let me share this story with you. When we were stationed in Memphis, I was going to the University of Memphis. The Air Force was sending me to the University of Memphis for a year of study for counseling. And I went there to get my degree and everything while I was active duty. And I was a chaplain. I had no responsibilities other than just to go to school. There, my family and I, First Lady and Jeff and Mahogany, we were there together. There was no base around us. It was just us. I was so used to having people around us, so I got to do what many of you do all the time. We got to go to church together as a family. We bonded even closer as a family. It was very strange initially because we were always used to sharing ourselves with other people. They were always used to sharing me with the congregation. But when we lived in Memphis, it was just us. We went to Bountiful Blessings under the late Bishop G.E. Patterson. And our family, I dare say, during that time when it was just us, we grew closer than we had ever been before. And this time that you are just with your family, it's nobody else. It's time to grow closer and strengthen those ties more than ever before. Strengthen those bonds. What's your takeaway this morning? Your takeaway is this. One of the purposes that God is using in this moment of confinement and this moment of shelter in place and this moment of we're all here together, one of the purposes that God is requiring of you is under this tension, tighten the ties. Under this tension, tighten the ties in your family. I've enjoyed this week. I'm going to have more for you next week about crisis and how we live in a crisis in leadership. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope you stream with someone's service. If you don't have someone to stream at your church, please stream with us 9:30 on Facebook Live or on our New Life Tube 1 channel on YouTube. I'll get it out. On YouTube. You can always stream with us at 9:30 if you don't have somewhere else to stream. We believe in the local church, so if you have one, then that's where you should be streaming. God bless you. May the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace. Share the manna. Bye now.